Good morning. When Todd asked me to do the sermon today, my first response was a little hesitant. Well, maybe that's putting it a little mildly. But as Ann said, Todd can be quite persuasive. He suggested that it would be good for the congregation to hear each other's faith stories, and that I should review the readings and see if one gave me any ideas or appealed to me. The reading today from the first letter of John caught my attention and brought back memories of my late teen years. I was brought up Catholic, and my family stopped going to church when I was around 10 years old. As a freshman in college, my future grandmother-in-law lived a few miles away from school. She would bring much appreciated care packages and frequently take me to her home for a home-cooked meal. When I heard the words from the first letter of John, "Whoever has the Son has life, and whoever does not have the Son of God does not have life," I thought of Nana Blackmar. We had many spirited discussions on this topic. She would tell me she was worried for my soul, saying to me that if I did not accept Jesus as the Son of God, I would never have eternal life, which for her meant heaven, and that I would be forever separated from those I love. I would counter by saying that it was so unfair that people who lived a good life or those that did not know Jesus were doomed to hell when they died. She stated that the Bible was clear and that accepting Jesus as the Son of God was the only way to be saved. It did not matter how you lived your life. I thought of the millions of people of other faiths or those with no faith at all, and this passage from the Bible made no sense at all to me. I would often think to myself that I did not believe in heaven anyway, but there's always a small part of me that whispered, what if I'm wrong? These questions about the Bible kept me away from the church for many years. When I come back to the passage today, I think of the words, "Whoever has the Son has life." What does this mean? How is it helpful for me as a Christian? What does it add to our daily lives? The image of Jesus is important in shaping our Christian life. When all the questions raised by the Bible are set aside, what remains for me are the teachings of Jesus, how Jesus lived his life, and what lessons can be learned from it. Justice and love are at the heart of Jesus' message, especially for those who are least able to ask for it. Jesus quietly went about doing acts of kindness, compassion, and healing. He repeatedly reached out with compassion to those whom others would shun, the poor, women, prostitutes, lepers, and even tax collectors. Jesus called his followers to a path of compassion and justice, and also calls us in the same way. This all sounds very daunting, great catchy sayings and words, but how does that translate into our lives? I believe it would be different for everyone. How much each person can give is individual. I think of the members of our own congregation who give so generously of their time, money, and talents to the free clinic. Members volunteer their time to provide services for obtaining medications, lab tests, nursing, interpreting, and organizing one of the clinic's biggest fundraisers. One patient of the free clinic was so grateful that the clinic services were available that she wanted to give back. Since she was unable to give financially, she volunteered her time at the clinic to help others in need. I also think of the 950 volunteers from area churches who gathered together to package meals for the Feed My Starving Children program. In 3 days, over 229,000 meals were packaged, enough to feed 629 children for a year. We worked at stations packaging up the chicken-flavored vitamin powder, soy nuggets, rice, and dehydrated vegetables, which actually tastes better than it sounds. We were working in teams, having fun, and a little friendly competition to see how fast our table could package the meals. It allowed us to set aside our differences in theology and build a feeling of community as we worked towards a common goal. And when our Girl Scout troop volunteered to help sort clothes for the winter wear program, some of the girls went in with a little moaning and groaning that this was not how they wanted to spend their Monday night. Of course, that wasn't Erin, was it? But they left feeling a sense of worth and accomplishment. Erin said to me that it felt good to help others, and it was fun too. There is transformation in these acts. I was drawn to Plymouth Church because of the sense of community. From the moment my family entered the church, we felt welcomed and cared about. People approached us, introduced themselves, and took time to get to know us. In addition to offering fellowship, our church's desire to serve our neighbors and the wider community appealed to me. One of the most powerful experiences I have had was when a group from Plymouth and Mineral Point went to Mississippi and New Orleans. I had never been to an area with that much devastation and need. It was the people we met that stay with me. The people of Pass Christian and New Orleans showed such steadfastness and endurance in the midst of destruction. The stories they told of loss and hardship were heart-wrenching and beyond any reality we could imagine. And yet, to have lost everything and still have the strength to stand up, stay, and rebuild is amazing. During these 2 trips, we met many volunteers from all over the country with different ideas on what it meant to be Christian. We met Amish, Mennonite, evangelical Christians, Catholic, Lutherans, and many others. Despite these differences, or maybe because of them, I left feeling renewed. I went on both of these trips to give to others and came back feeling as though I had received more than I had given. I cherish the lasting friendships that were formed on this trip, both with members of this church as well as Mineral Point. Jesus is about love, caring, and compassion for others. And these are the ideals I try to hold on to as I live my life. This is how I now think of the phrase, "Whoever has the Son has life." This also brings me back to Nana Blackmar. She was one of the most giving people I have ever met. When I met her and Grandpa Blackmar, they were retired and lived in a trailer on a fixed income. I know that they did not have a lot of money, but she was always quietly giving of herself. She baked good for those in needs, gave rides to appointments, helped the elderly with yard and housework, and even slipped an occasional $20 to a college student. We always left her feeling as though we were perfect, just the way we were. She taught me by example what unconditional love, giving, and acceptance is. Although she believed her actions would not be her way to eternal life, she continued to live by Jesus' example. She did what her faith called her to do. I read somewhere that life is love lived out and realized in this world. Jesus calls all of us to be better people. Compassion and love moves us outside of ourselves and into a larger role. Nana Blackmar taught me by how she lived her life. I had never met anyone like her before. And as she reached out to people, she made a difference in their lives and in mine. Jesus' teaching lived on through her, and hopefully in a small part through me. I look forward to the future at Plymouth and seeing how we will live out Jesus' message of justice, love, and compassion for others. I want to end with a poem. This was written by St. Teresa of Avila in the 1500s. It's called, "You Are Christ's Hands." Christ has no body now on earth but yours, no hands but yours, no feet but yours. Yours are the eyes through which is to look out, Christ's compassion to the world. Yours are the feet with which he is to go about doing good. Yours are the hands with which he is to bless men now. Thanks.